Wouldn't you love to hear D&D players saying cool shit like this at your table?
If you can't spot the sucker in your first half hour at the table, then you are the sucker.
Whoa, 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 hold your horses, fellow. I'm talking about creating encounters around games of chance. Ever thought of that? Some unforgettable movie and TV show scenes involve tense gambling, and it's easy to translate that to our adventures. So let me share what you need to make your players happy for once that they are proficient in gaming sets. And stick around until the end of the video for a plug-and-play encounter for your campaign. All you need to do is practice your bone poker face. By combining three simple mechanics, we can recreate an exciting game of chance in our adventures. The core mechanic is Intelligence Gaming Set Contest. Whoever is playing must make the check, and the highest result wins the round. We can add a second layer by allowing players to bluff. Before rolling for gaming set, whoever wants to bluff makes a Charisma Deception check against all other participants' passive insight. On a success, they can roll with advantage in the gaming set contest. On a failure, they roll with disadvantage. There are a few reasons to use passive insight in this situation. First, we want to keep things fast. A single roll should reflect if the bluff is successful or not. Second, we want to keep things simple, so the bluff attempt should be contested by all other players at once to avoid computing several results. Lastly, we want things to be balanced. If one character rolls for deception and everyone else rolls for insight, it doesn't take many participants to make almost every bluff attempt a guaranteed failure. So there we go. A bluff simply requires a deception check against the highest passive insight of the game table. Fast, simple, and balanced. Oh, your naughty bards and rogues want to cheat. Who would have thought of that? Said no one in the world, ever. Don't worry, I've got you covered. That's precisely our final layer. Game participants who want to cheat must make a sleight of hand dexterity contest against all other participants' passive perceptions. In other words, the check DC is again the highest passive score of the table. On a success, they can roll the gaming set check with advantage. On a failure by 5 or more, the cheater is caught and must face whatever the consequences of that. All in all, our game of chance mechanics has 3 stages. First, those who want to cheat roll for a sleight of hands. Then, those who want to bluff roll for deception. Finally, everyone rolls for gaming set, applying advantage and disadvantage according to the result of the previous stages. Every time that an NPC spots a cheat or bluff attempt, share with your players who did. That way, they will learn about the strengths of their opponents and adjust their strategy accordingly. Criminal, noble, and soldier backgrounds are proficient with gaming sets. They must choose between dice set, playing cards, 3 Dragon Ante, and Dragon Chess. By the way, did you know that the letter 2 exists for real? We can use gaming set encounters on different occasions. Maybe you just want some fun downtime activity in your local tavern between adventures. Or perhaps you want to enrich a social interaction. Who would have thought that the information broker would offer you to gamble him for the information you were ready to pay for? But an encounter like that can easily be your adventure's main course. No invitee dares to take their eyes from the Dragon Chess match between the noble paladin and the duke during the harvest festival at the castle. Will the paladin succeed in stalling the game long enough while the rest of his party tries to break into the duke's personal armory? Now, here's a plug-and-play encounter for your campaign. Every last night of the month, the Nine Fires Inn holds a special Death Round Symbian poker match. The table accepts up to 10 players. 5 of them are NPCs. Every player must chip in 50 gold pieces to join. The game has 5 rounds plus a final death round, hence its name. There's a fixed 10 gold pieces bet every round. The round winner takes the pot. If it's a tie, the pot is evenly split among round winners. The player who has the highest stack by the end of the 5th round wins the game. If 2 or more players are tied with the highest stack, only those players play the death round, with all their stacks in the pot. Cheating is allowed in Symbian poker, as long as you're not caught, in which case the only consequence is immediate disqualification. This is a well-mannered game, folks. Nobody's gonna chop your hand off for cheating. In a conventional death round match, a participant can choose to join the death round or keep the stack and go home, just like participants who don't have the highest stack. But on this special night, at the 9 Fires Inn, the house keeps all stacks and a single winner takes home the prize, a random rare magic item. But what makes this encounter really interesting are the NPCs, or did you think that I would leave you without that? These are our 5 players. Fergus is the cheater. With the sleight of hand +5, Fergus will try to cheat whenever he's not leading the stacks. He will also try to cheat on the death round. Midri is the bluffer. With deception +5, Midri tries to bluff in every round of the game. Derek is the scale, the most balanced participant on the table. With deception +3, Derek also tries to bluff every round. Ella is the eye. Her passive perception 14 makes cheaters think twice when they're playing on her table. Yesha is the pro. With gaming set +5, Yesha relies only on her skills to win. Before player characters join the game, Phylakbad, the innkeeper, can brief them about each opponent's strengths and strategies. That will not only enhance their immersion for your players by giving a personality to each NPC they're playing against, but will also allow them to adjust their strategy according to which of them makes it to the death round. One last thing, because the pace of the game is always a top priority for me. When rolling for NPCs, we can make multiple rolls at once. These 3 dice rolls are for Fergus trying to cheat and Midri and Derek trying to bluff. Where the dice land determines whose roll is whose. Likewise, these 8 dice are the gaming set rolls for the NPCs, already accounting for the advantage and disadvantage they had acquired in their previous rolls. That way, I don't keep my players waiting much while I roll for the NPCs. What do you think? Ready for some James Bond poker stare-off? You're still here? We're done, mate. We're done.